Organizing Project, the George Floyd resolution. Talking about no cops in our schools, no criminalization of our children. Y'all give it up to the leadership, the folks, the Black Organizing Project. Savannah, come take this mic. Well, not take it, you got your own mic. Talk to the folks.
All right, listen. Hey, baby. Thank you so much, Kat. We gotta get the energy up in here. If I say all power, y'all say to the people, all power, all power, all power. And I say that in the tradition of the Black Panther Party, which was born just a few miles up this way, right, on Shattuck Avenue. And at first I want to give thanks to Kat Brooks and to APTP for bringing us out here. Shout out. Mad props to APTP. I'm representing as a member of BOP, the Black Organizing Project. And so some of y'all were there in June 2020 when we as a community successfully pushed to win the passing of the George Floyd resolution to eliminate school police, right? Y'all was there? Yes. But I say George Floyd's name right now and it's hitting me heavy in the heart because I'm also thinking about the murder of Keenan Anderson, who just died this week with George Floyd's name on his lips, gunned down by LAPD. I also want to speak the name of Raheem Brown, who was shot and killed outside Skyline High by the Oakland School Police, and his murder really sparked the movement that ended up being the George Floyd resolution, and we honor his memory by continuing that fight today. So after this 10 years of pressure on OUSD, the campuses are free of police. The vehicles got decommissioned, the officers were fired, the guns were actually melted down in the foundry, never to shoot anybody again. Defund, disarm, dismantle, punto, right? So we won. But the question is, ooh, Lord, I got it on a piece of paper because I'm gonna go off track. Do you think the day after the school police were eliminated, our children are magically free and safe the next day? Absolutely not, right? Because the trauma is still there. The misogyny are still there. The anti-blackness is still there. All the systems, all that state violence Kat Brooks is talking about is still there. Removing police is not creating safety. It's just removing one kind of harm. It's still on us to build the safety our children deserve. And this is why we as BOP have spent the last 2 years after the win, right, working with y'all, working with community to actually have a faithful implementation of the George Floyd resolution. Because how many times have you seen there be a big win in community and the elected celebrities come out to right here on this little plaza and it's all rah-rah, everything's gonna change, and as soon as the little things come down, the cameras leave and the lights go off, it's a pile of work to do, nobody to do it, and no money to get it done. Have you been there before? Well, listen, not this time. And you know why? We said we're gonna actually work with community to put together the budget that we need to get this done. It's called the people's budget. Because you know what money they have? Does the government have its own money? No, it don't. Whose money is it? Our money. Every single cent and dollar that this government has comes from you, from our ancestors. It is wrenched from the blood of indigenous people who gave up their land and are still here today. It's been stolen off of slave ships. It was dripped onto the railroad tracks the Asian people had to build. They have no money. It is all ours. That haven't been said. Do you know OUSD spent $10 million over the last 5 years on school police? $10 million that could have been spent on our children. And then they decided to turn around and say, well, okay, if you guys want some money for safety, here's the salary for the 7 officers, and you can have that to keep 30,000 Oakland young people safe. Is that enough? No. Absolutely not. At BOP, we believe that the people who are most directly impacted by systems should be the ones who are shaping what policy looks like. And so thank you to everybody who came out to our listening sessions, everybody who completed the survey that we did, people who did community input sessions. Through this process, we figured out what the community needed. We put it all together. The community's voice has said, well, the number one thing that is needed is people. Parents, students, and teachers said, what we need is more personnel. We need restorative justice facilitators. We need culture keepers. We need trauma-informed, culturally competent mental health counselors in our schools. We need nurses in our schools. We need healers like the ones who are working right here in our schools, right? And what's more than that, the community also said, once you get the people, you have to pay the people. Raise your hand if your rent went up in the past 3 years. Raise your hand if somebody you know had to move out of Oakland because they couldn't afford to live here anymore. Raise your hand if you know somebody who's living on a couch, on a second bed, in a relationship they have no business being in because they can't afford to move out. Well, the same things are happening to our teachers and to our community justice leaders in schools, and it's gotta stop. Safety does not have a price tag. The sacred protection of our children is priceless. That's why we're advocating for a living wage for the culture keepers who are with our youth day in and day out. They're there on the lunch yard. They're there in the hallways, and they deserve to feed their children. Half of them deserve to feed their grandchildren because they're our community elders. That's why we're advocating for the people's budget as a process that creates real solutions, not an alternative to policing, because we don't want to replace the police. We don't want no rent-a-cops. We don't want no fake police. We want a new society, and it starts with us. Okay? So the price tag is $57 million. That's what it's going to take. Okay? Mind you, OUSD is sitting on half a bill, baby, so I think they can afford it. But let's be real, this isn't just a budget. This is an investment in Black students, Black families, and Black communities. It's a small but meaningful start to reparations, repairing the harm that they've caused. It's a step towards making Black sanctuary a reality in our schools. Because you know what happens when you have Black sanctuary? Black sanctuary, a place where all Black families can be safe, that's also brown sanctuary. There's also disabled sanctuary. Because if all of our communities are safe, that's when we know we can start beginning the work. So for y'all, so the last thing I want to say is if you want to get down with us and participate in this next round, raise your hand, Indigo. Indigo's got us. Okay, if you work with the organization, you want to get down with us, you can host a listening session. You can collaborate with us on making sure the budget is implemented. And if you're a Black person who wants to join BOP, we've got PE, political education, happening on the last Thursdays of the month. We can get you connected. Go ahead and get with Indigo, scan the QR code, and most importantly, keep faith in our people. All right? All right, y'all, I'm gonna leave y'all out. Repeat after me real quick. I believe that we will win. That we will win. I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win. I believe that we, do you believe?
I believe that we will win.
I believe that we will win. Where about? All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much for this time. Thank you, Kat.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your work.